to the Dan Show, starring Dan Whalen.
Hey guys, welcome back to my show where we talk about all things movies, TV shows, and cigars. And today we're going to be doing the third movie in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We are going to be talking about The Lord of the Rings and The Return of the King. Before we get started, if you could please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, it definitely helps me out, and stay tuned for more videos. Like I said, I say this probably every time because it's only true. I love doing this. This is actually a lot of fun. So, more subscribers, more likes, it definitely keeps me motivated on doing this. Even without them, I have no problem spitting out movies for you guys. This is a great time, and thank you for those who watch. We're going to jump right on into this. We're going to talk about the third movie. So we already kind of went through the Fellowship of the Ring, and then we already talked about the Two Towers. Now we're going to be talking about the Return of the King. So this one pretty much immediately picks up after the Helm's Deep War in the second movie. I already talked about the second movie. If you didn't see that one, I'll see if I can put the link in the description of the second one. Even the first one, I'll put it all down there for you. Not an issue. But this takes place immediately after the Helm's Deep War. And then they kind of, in this situation, they're kind of like, we're kind of where Rohan is right now. Rohan was more about, like, with the horseback riders and everything like that. They're more of the second movie. This movie, we're going to be talking more about Gondor, which they have a city called Minas Tirith, which that's pretty much the main setting of the movie. And they're kind of in a pile of shit. And when you watch the movie, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So, Rohan, after the Helm's Deep War, you can kind of get like a vibe that they're kind of taking like a little break from things. Gandalf and there's another Hobbit. His name's Pippin. Pippin is kind of like the one that just kind of, he's kind of an idiot. All right, he's kind of an idiot. All right, he's the one that if any character is gonna screw up, it's gonna be Pippin. Which in this movie, it's not shown in the the normal version, but if you watch the extended version of this, Saruman dies. Saruman's at the top of his tower. At the end of the second movie, the Aints, which are like the moving trees, the trees that could talk and whisper to each other, all that, they end up attacking Isengard, which is where Saruman is, held at. That's where he built the army to attack Helm's Deep, and the Aints are kind of like pissed off that they cut some trees down, and they're just like, screw it, we're going to war, and they destroy Isengard, no problem. But in the beginning of the third movie, in the extended edition, which I recommend the extended edition, I'm going to say it, if you want more bang for your buck, watch the extended edition of these movies. They're awesome. But Saruman's at the top of the tower. Legolas kind of shoots him with an arrow. I'm pretty sure that's what happens if I remember correctly. And then if you've seen the second one, there's a character called Wormtongue or something like that who ends up stabbing Saruman in the back first. And then I guess Legolas shoots him in an arrow, and then he falls down the tower. So this is all going to add up. So when you get to that point, it's almost like a crystal ball, and then that's how he communicates with Sauron, which is the Great Eye in Mordor. And Pippin, being Pippin, ends up grabbing it and looking at it, like picks it up from the water and stares at it, and then ends up being like almost hypnotized, like the ring does to everyone else. So that becomes kind of an issue. So if you watch the movie, there's a scene where Pippin kind of wakes up in the middle of the night and he takes the ball and ends up like staring into it too long, and Gandalf kind of saves him. And then Pippin kind of gives some clues as to like a white tree, and the city is burning, and the only place that Gandalf can think of that makes sense would be Minas Tirith. So Gandalf and Pippin ride to Minas Tirith to try to warn everybody of what's going to come. The ball itself kind of says, hey, we're about to send all these Uruk-hai and orcs to Minas Tirith to destroy you, and pretty much, the premise of the movie is to destroy humanity. Fudge, man, that sucks. So anyway, they end up going there, and now I'm going to fast forward a little bit. So Pippin ends up, there's a guy named Denethor, and I know I talked about him. That's Faramir and Boromir's dad. He's not truly introduced in the normal versions, but in the extended versions, you see him in the second movie. Which this guy just sucks. Like, Denethor sucks. Like, I get why his character's there, but he is just like hopeless. Like, he sucks. Period. Just bad. He's just not a good character at all. But all in all, whatever. He pretty much decides that he's not gonna go to war with anything. He's just not going to do anything about what's about to happen. And Gandalf is like kind of like, ah, dude, screw that. So what ends up happening is, like I said, Rohan's kind of taking a little break here. And then you have Minas Tirith that's about to be under attack and potentially might be destroyed, whatever. Pippin ends up climbing a tower or like a mountainside, and he ends up lighting a beacon. Which these beacons are spread out for miles. Like, I mean, they're going crazy. Like, they just keep whatever. And then when Rohan sees the beacon is lit, they're just like, all right, I guess we're going to war. All right, cool. So I think, honestly, if I had to pick a team, I'd pick Rohan. I think their scenery's better, and I just think their all-out way of living is better, whatever. I also like horses. I think horses are pretty cool, and I would love to ride one all the time. That'd be fantastic. But anyway, it's a little off track, but whatever. But, like, okay, so pretty much once Rohan gets the beacon, and they see that, oh my god, Minas Tirith needs reinforcements eventually, Rohan kind of goes crazy. They end up just like, alright, we need to scout out, we need to find people. And that, I think, is the funnest part of the movie. So I'm going to say this, the extended edition of this movie is like 4 hours long. So this video might be a little bit longer, and I'm trying to make sure I don't cut out any details. I watched some of the other ones, and I'm like, dang, I did kind of leave out a little bit, but I'm trying to be thorough, but I also want to make this kind of just manageable to watch. I don't want like a 30-minute video on the Lord of the Rings. But all in all, like, the movie is awesome. So Rohan ends up, scouting people out. They end up finding reinforcements who eventually ride out to Gondor to help stop this war. So we're going to jump ahead a little bit. We're going to pretty much skip the entire battle of the hidden city, or the broken city that's kind of like right like a mile away from Gondor. It's called like Athelion or something like that. Athenian, something crazy like that. Anyway, so that city gets overrun by orcs, and the reinforcements or the guards that were guarding that ruined city had to retreat back to Minas Tirith. So then Mordor ends up, launching this huge like beam of like in the air, which pretty much signals like, oh hey, we're coming, we're on our way. And I mean, out of this black city that's pretty much the city of the dead, I guess, it is just like an infinite amount of orcs just walking out of it, and they're marching to the city of Minas Tirith, which, I'm going to say it, that's pretty intimidating. If you know what I'm talking about, like, there's a part where Denethor, like, kind of loses all hope, and he kind of walks over to, like, the edge, and he looks down, and you just see almost like a mile-long stretch of orcs, and he's just like, that's it, we're dead, we're screwed. And that's essentially when the war starts, especially when Gandalf kind of kicks his ass to say, shut up, hey, get ready for battle. I think that's the funniest part of the movie, because someone had to do it, and if anyone was going to do it, it was going to be Gandalf to shut that dude up. Anyway, that guy, so I'm going to just kind of skip ahead to how he dies. His son was one of the guards in Athelion, and he ends up getting really injured, and he almost tries to cremate him while he's alive, which makes no sense, because Denethor, for some reason, just hates Boromir, which is one of his kids. And Denethor ends up catching fire and falling. He ends up running off the cliff of Gondor, like he runs off the city balcony, pretty much, of Minas Tirith, and he falls into just nowhere land, and just that's how he dies. I honestly, like I said, you're gonna hate this character just as much as I do, probably. He just sucks. I'm gonna say it, I just don't like the character, but whatever. Life goes on. Anyway, so the war between Minas Tirith and the orcs is pretty damn intense. Like, it's almost like, pretty much the one thing I will give Lord of the Rings credit for is they really make you feel hopeless for the humans. Like, the men and the women and the, like, it's almost like there's no way they can beat these, like, the orcs, you know what I mean? There's just, it's like 1,000,000 to 1, it seems, you know? And, so we're gonna go to where Rohan is. Rohan is gathering troops and shit to get to be able to ride to Minas Tirith to help fight in this war. And Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli, the three musketeers. So there's an elf, and I'm trying to remember his name. God, I literally just watched these movies. I mean, God, I need whatever. But the Arwen, her dad, I'm trying to remember his name. It'll come to me eventually. But he ends up showing up to where Rohan is camping out and gives Aragorn the sword of the king. And he realizes, stop being a ranger, I need you to be the king here. And Aragorn goes, alright, fine. So the advice that the elf gives to Aragorn is, you need to go into the mountains, and the only people that, and like, they're these creepy ghost people, and they're kind of assholes, but the only person they will listen to is the king, which is Aragorn, but he just hasn't accepted it yet. But with the sword, it'll help them realize, oh shit, this guy's legit. So, that's honestly, I think actually that's my favorite part of the movie, is when Aragorn finds the ghosts, and they have no idea who he is yet, until, I guess one of the ghosts, like, swings at him with a sword, and somehow with this sword, Aragorn was able to block the blade, even though it's like a translucent blade, he was still able to block it, which is pretty freaking cool. And that's when the ghosts realize, oh crap, this dude is the king. Oh man, you know, and like they're like, and Aragorn, he's literally like, please fight for us, and he'll literally return their souls to heaven or something like that. He'll release them into peace. And that is, like I said, I think if you've seen it, I think that's the coolest part of the movie. I think that part of the movie is pretty freaking cool. Because, like, they're like, oh shit, the bloodline isn't gone, you know, whatever. And then, if it wasn't for these ghosts that Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli were able to pick up, they probably would have lost this war. Which might not necessarily be true, but I think if I'm really kind of looking at statistics, the ghosts were kind of like the final blow. They were the one that finished the fight. But another good part of the movie, this movie is just visually pleasing. Now, like I said, Rohan's gathering troops to go to Minas Tirith to fight the war against the orcs and help them out as reinforcements. But in this movie, when Rohan kind of rides to Minas Tirith, there's a part where they all kind of line up. And King Theoden, who was the king that was, I guess, poisoned by Saruman in the second movie, he's kind of like a huge inspiration, and like even he kind of realizes, like, this might be it, guys. Like, this might be the end of humanity, but we're gonna go down fighting. And the speech before the riders of Rohan charge into where all the orcs are is like almost like it's a monumental scene. It's almost tear-jerking. You know what I mean? Like when he gives this speech. It might sound stupid, but every time I watch this movie and I hear the speech, I feel like I have to get up and work out. I don't necessarily know why that is, but like I said, that is another part of the movie that is just insanely cool. I absolutely love that part. Like, it is so cool. And when they, like, the Riders of Rohan theme music in the background and they're just charging, oh my god. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And like I said, that reinforcements, because, I mean, with the horses, they're just kind of like running these orcs over. But then they almost have victory until, like, they're like the Eastlings or whatever they're called, and they show up with the elephants or whatever, which is just like a fancier way of saying elephant. But these elephants are like 100 feet freaking tall, and they're able to just kind of crush everything that they come into contact with, which, if you've seen the movie, if you haven't seen the movie, just get ready for the Legolas just taking the elephant down on his own. That's like I think that's just a big show-off scene, but it's still pretty darn cool. But if you know what I'm talking about, you know, it's a pretty sick scene. So let's put it this way. Again, going back to the ghosts, Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli show up on the ships where the other Eastlings were supposed to come on and help bring reinforcements to the orcs. But instead, the ghosts, I guess, took over those ships, and Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli show up with the ghosts on that boat. So that's essentially when that war ends. And then they kind of realize it's not over because Frodo and Sam, we haven't forgot about them. They're like this close to getting the ring to Mordor, and they're actually able to, I guess, at the end of this movie, let's just say they win. They end up putting the ring in Mordor. They end up stopping it, whatever. And like I said, they end up putting the ring into the Mount Doom, and the ring ends up being destroyed. Like I said, guys, this movie is incredibly long, and I'm trying to just give you the best sum up of what I felt like was the coolest parts of the movie. I don't know. Like I said this before, but there's something about like charging, like standing like wars with like armor and knights and stuff that I don't know if it's a guy thing or what, but there's just something cool about that. I don't know what it is, but once the war for Minas Tirith is over, they have like a council meeting up in the chambers, I guess, and then they kind of realize that they have to march to the Black Gates of Mordor to, I guess, give Frodo and Sam a little bit more time to do their job, because Boromir saw them in the second movie, and he told them that they're not too far away from Mordor. So Frodo and Sam, they actually have hope that there might be a chance here. So Aragorn, now kind of accepting his role as the king, he's now taking lead, he's now taking charge, and he actually ends up marching half of Rohan, half of what's left of Rohan, and half of what's left of Minas Tirith and Gondor to the Black Gates to give Frodo and Sam more time. Only to find out that there's like tens of thousands of more orcs inside of Mordor. This is essentially like where they kind of like lose all hope. And only in the extended edition of the movie, there's this character called the Mouth of Sauron, I'm sorry. And he comes out and pretty much tells all of the humans that Frodo and Sam are dead, which isn't true. And then pretty much once he kind of like starts spitting out his bullshit, Aragorn just kind of chops his head off and he goes, "I don't believe him." And they kind of go back to where they're making their last stand essentially. And Aragorn, again, something about motivational speeches. Aragorn gives his own motivational speech to the rest of the humanity that's actually in front of the Black Gates. And that's another uplifting, amazing speech right there that's like, okay, now I have to work out again. Thanks, Aragorn, whatever. And then once the Black Gates open and all the orcs come out, they surround the remaining troops. And, like, when you see it, like, if you're watching the movie, you already know, like, oh god, they're screwed. Like, that's it. They're done. You know what I mean? But, Aragorn kind of has, like, a weird, like, glimmer of hope. Like, he has, like, one last, like, inspirational thing, and he turns around, he looks at the rest of his troops, and he goes, "For Frodo." And he immediately just charges after them. Like, and I don't know, man, like, this movie is really cool. I still think the second one is my favorite, but this one I think might take, like, a close, like, this one might almost be tied with the second one. There is nothing wrong with the first one, but I just thought there was a lot more going on in the next two movies prior to the Fellowship of the Ring. Now, within this battle of out front of the Black Gates, Frodo and Sam were managed to get the ring into the volcano, which is Mount Doom, and then essentially destroy Sauron, which you actually watch the Great Eye and the tower that it sits on just fall down. I'm not going to tell you what happens to Gollum. I would just kind of suggest watching the movie and finding out, because, like I said, I actually kind of feel bad for Gollum. Gollum was just a victim of the ring. He's the one that had to torment and was greatly manipulated by the ring more than I think any other character in the whole show. And, not for nothing, but, like, at the end of the second movie, Frodo and Sam kind of do backstab him a little bit, which they kind of didn't really have a choice, but it is what it is. But I think Gollum may have been a character that could have been salvageable, may have been redeemed, but maybe not. I don't know. Put in the comment section what you think. I think if Frodo and Sam did things a little different, I think Gollum would have ended up a lot different than he did at the end of the movies. I think he actually would have been like a redeemable character. Write in the comment section what you think, considering how ugly he is and how, like, deformity is and everything. I still think there may have been a chance. Anyway, like I said, put in the comment section what you thought. But like I said, I'm not going to go into details of what happens to Frodo and Sam after the ring is destroyed. So pretty much they were able to make their way back to the Shire, and they were able to live a little bit longer of a life. And then I'm not going to tell you what happens to Frodo. I really want you guys to watch these movies. There was definitely a lot of spoilers in this one, but I definitely didn't, like, mention literally everything. There's a scene, like, in the movie with, like, a giant spider. If that turns you off, I completely understand, but like I said, the movie is really good. I'm not the biggest fan of spiders either, but in this movie there is, like, it's big. It's a big freaking spider. And like I said, just watch the movie. It really is good. This is definitely, like, I'm talking the most summed up version of the movie, and I think all I did in this video was talk about the war scenes in this movie. There is a lot more to the story that I did leave out, but like I said, this would almost be an hour-long video if I were to talk every, like, little detail. And even the other ones I think would be just as long, because there's just a lot of details into these movies. And like I said, I just pretty much for the videos, I just want to put all the good scenes that I thought were great. It's my review, and like I said, I would love to hear in the comments what you guys thought of the Lord of the Rings. I love the whole trilogy is a 12 out of 10. Like, it's one of those, like, I could probably watch the whole trilogy once a week, and that's cool. Like, it doesn't get old. These movies, like, stopped, or the Lord of the Rings trilogy stopped in 2003. And it still has, like, just a fantastic fan base. Like, even to this day, I still love the movies. And I'll tell you this, and, like, I know I had a story about the movie, The Two Towers, how I told you that my mom picked me up from school, me and my brother, and I think my sister was there too, and we ended up going to see the movie. Like, we literally skipped half a school day to go see this movie. But when The Lord of the Rings: The Return of the King came out, we went to the midnight release of it, and holy crap, I was a lot younger then, and it was weird. Like, I had more energy then too, but for some reason, it's like, without the extended edition, the movie is still like 4 hours long, you know? So, midnight release, didn't get home till almost 5 in the morning, because at the time, we went to Universal Studios at City Walk to see it there, which was still like a 40-minute drive from where I used to live, and just a long night. But God, what an interesting movie. I ended up staying up for all of it, and I was still a kid at the time, but it was like a weekend, so I guess I was able to get away with it, which is nice. But God, what a great movie. The movies were so cool, and like I said, I'm going to say, if you haven't seen them, I'm going to just say go watch them. Like, just take a day off, or, you know, pick a Saturday, make a bowl of popcorn, you know, do whatever you want to do. Get a glass of whiskey, smoke a stogie, whatever you want, you know. But watch the movies. These movies kick ass. These movies are awesome. And like I said, like, I definitely, if I had to go in the order of which ones I like, I definitely like, it'd be second, third, and first. Those are the order, so that's my order. Let me know in the comment section what you thought of, like, what order you like. But all in all, the story is pretty fantastic. Like, everybody has like loopholes on like how they could have made the ring go to Mount Doom sooner, which we all know the Eagles thing, you know, my God, we get it. But all in all, like I said, I like the movie a lot. Like I said, go watch them. Let me know what you think about them, and stay tuned for more video, guys. Like, this video could have been forever. This video could have been really long, but I just wanted to give it like a brief little description of what I thought of this movie. And this movie is awesome. The whole trilogy is awesome. Go watch it. Let me know what you think. And YouTube, I'm going to always remind you to always have a fantastic day.